And we have another guest joining us now, live from Cleveland, Ohio. Timothy Dimoff is a high-risk security consultant. He has also worked as a narcotics detective and a SWAT team leader, and has written a book called Life Rage. Thanks so much for joining us, Timothy.
Well, thanks for having me.
All right, Tim, you wrote the book Life Rage. I'm suffering here the last few days from anchor rage. And the reason being is we've got co-anchors here, and we've got guests who are somehow justifying and trying to explain the behavior of these two young women and the rest of the family that day in pursuing this madman on the road.
Right.
Are you with me or are you with them? You're for me or against me?
I like how he phrases that.
Now, this is a complicated situation. There's a lot of different things going on here that different people could have done differently. So where do you want to start?
Well, let's start with, okay, I'm at a stop sign and something's happened between these two vehicles and a madman is now banging on the car. What do I do? I'm inside the car.
Well, the first thing you want to do is anytime someone's banging on your car, approaching you aggressively, whatever, you want to get out of that situation. You want to leave the situation. You want to leave the area. The universal rule for life rage, road rage, or any type of rage is when it starts, you do not want to throw another log on the fire. You want to prevent it from escalating. So the first rule always is get out of the scene, get out of the area. Do not make it worse.
How about calling the police? Wouldn't that be the first rule? Call 911.
First rule is get out of there and for your safety. Second rule is immediately call the police. Yes.
Safety first. Safety first. Thank you.
Problem is, if you get out of there, then you're leaving this guy out on the road to engage in dangerous, threatening behavior with everybody else. Aren't you?
No, the guy's rage is towards the person that he's pounding on the window or the hood of the car or trying to attack. In rage situations, the rage is usually focused on somebody who that person interprets has caused them some discomfort or has done something to them.
These young women were perfect strangers, and this whole thing started when allegedly he got mad because they were driving too slowly. You know, this is one of these guys. I usually drive the speed limit or just a couple miles over because, frankly, I don't want to get a ticket, all right? So people come up behind me, you know, God forbid I'm not going 10, 15 miles over the speed limit. Come up behind me, flash their lights, do all of that. This is one of those guys, and I don't think it would have stopped with these two young women. I think the next person who's driving the speed limit would have encountered the same thing.
On this situation, this guy was upset because they were driving too slow. He tried to pass them. Allegedly, they sped up or something. Whatever the situation is, right now at that point, his rage, he is mad and he is focused on them. They should get out of that area. They should call the police. They should not try to do anything that would make this guy even more angry.
Because that's what road rage is. Road rage is a back and forth. And come on, folks, we've been behind the wheel. You've been in those situations. And sometimes you might just scream to yourself in the car, and then other times you may do something to the other driver. And that's not going to make the situation better. I mean, you flip the bird, you cut someone off, you think it's going to make the situation any safer? It just doesn't. And Timothy, I think the point you're making here, and I think it's so important, is get out of there first. Safety first. Let's be safe. Then let's worry about whether or not police will or will not ever catch this guy.
Yeah, but the other thing, too, is when you leave, it's safety, but also you have to understand it's a psychological diffusing technique, okay? If someone says something to me and I go towards them, I'm challenging them. I'm telling them I don't believe in what they're saying. I'm telling them that I can take them, I can overcome them. But if I retreat, I'm giving in. I'm saying, okay, you're the bigger and mightier one. I don't want any part of that. It's a diffusing technique also. It's very psychological what's going on here. When someone is in the middle of violence and rage, and you do anything to challenge that rage, you are instigating, and it's only going to get worse. Getting out of that situation is the most important thing to do, and protect yourself. Get out of there.
And that's exactly what I've been trying to talk about. You're saying it a lot better than I could. And that's what I'm talking about, Lisa, here, where it's a situation, yeah, there's that machismo. I don't want him to get away with it. He cut me off. He was banging on my car. I'm going to make sure he gets arrested, and I want to get back at that person. And when you confront that person, confront that situation, the situation can get worse. And here, obviously, it did. You go away. You go in the opposite direction.
Well, machismo, for some, a sense of justice for others. And Timothy, just very quickly, you know, you've written the book, Life Rage. You're really examining societal rage.
Right.
What is going on with people? I mean, are people getting angrier, especially out there on the roads?
Yeah, we are seeing now, all this rage started with road rage. And what has happened is it's turned into, rage has permeated into every aspect of our daily lives. You wake up in the morning and you go to buy a cup of coffee and the person behind the counter isn't happy to see you. You go to work and people are complaining and they're upset and they're arguing. We used to talk about pleasant things at work. Now we argue about different things. So it's like every aspect of our daily lives now has a taste of rage in it, and it's accumulating. It's in our youth sports. It's in our schools. You know, it's in businesses. It's on airplanes. It's in the road. It's everywhere, and it's increasing. We are seeing across the board statistically, people are not getting along with people anymore like they used to.
Vinny, imagine people going to work and arguing every day at work. Imagine that kind of a job.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And
it's good work if you can get it, I guess.
And that's true in a lot of businesses today. And, you know, and the majority of Americans, I say majority, but a lot of Americans don't like where they're working at. They're not comfortable there. There's not that good culture anymore. So, and this just permeates and spills over into, you know, your social lives and your recreation and different things. This is happening. Rages and violence and confrontations is what it is. It's confrontations is just escalating at an alarming rate.
All right, as we go to break, we want to Timothy, in this picture, we've got the parents sort of in the middle of the road, and then their children behind them on the right side of the road. So you've got sort of that left-hand side, if you're going this way, the right-hand side, you're going the other way, where this defendant could have gotten away. But instead of going away, makes that initial contact, after that contact, then steers the car out of the path of fleeing the scene and steers the car into the white Honda. From my perspective, this is the absolute key to the prosecution case, because this is where the defendant could have ended this whole road rage incident, could have just driven away.
Absolutely. As you can see in the pictures and the testimony, there is plenty of room there for him to escape right after he hits the parents' car. He can drive around that, but no, his intention then is to get that Honda car with those two people in there that, in his mind, started this whole thing in his mind that he initially had contact with. Not only does he hit them, but he's not happy enough with just hitting them. He's going to run his vehicle right on top of them, and he's going to keep driving them across the road. Think of the thought process, not only to hit them, but to get on their hood and then to keep pushing that accelerator and pushing that car across that road into the ditch to when it can't go any further. And you have that entire escape route, and he chooses not to pick that route.
Yeah, I think those pictures show pretty clearly he had plenty of escape.
And this was a road rage incident. Now, tragically, a mother is dead, and this young woman has to go forward in life without her mom. Without her mom. Timothy Dimoff still with us, the author of Life Rage. Timothy, how about some sort of help here for everyone as we come to the conclusion of open court today? How can we be safe out on the roads when we start to feel enraged, when we confront people who are enraged and we're going in the same direction?
Yeah, it's back to the basics. You can't feed the fire on this situation. Don't take the law into your own hands. We don't need two young women or anybody else, any citizen, following somebody and just increasing the intensity of something. Let the police do their job. And at any aspect of the situation, whether it's at the beginning or let's say you do start to follow someone or whatever, at some point in time, and the earlier the better, get out of the situation. Do not keep feeding the fire. And you look at this case and you look at all the cases across the United States, it takes two people to tango, and if one leaves, then there is no confrontation. And that's the bottom line. Psychologically, there's a lot of things going on in this case that aren't even being discussed. This person's background, their history, their propensity for violence, the use of possible drugs and drinking before this happened, the whole thing. There are so many factors in this case that the two young ladies didn't know that took place. Specifically, as I said, this gentleman's background, what this gentleman did before he tried to pass past his car? What was his morning like? Did he have a bad hair day or did he have a good hair day?
Yeah, well, we know
All
he had
those
an
factors.
argument with his girlfriend this morning. Hey, I am pleased that both of you are now...